At the beginning of the story, we see the beautiful Pine Grove Forest in Washington, where a rare red-crowned woodpecker lived happily and freely. Two brothers, Nate and Otis, arrive in the forest for a hunting trip. Hunting was strictly forbidden there, but Nate simply removes the warning sign like it means nothing. Just then, the woodpecker suddenly appears in front of them. Nate and Otis had never seen a bird like this before, so they try to shoot it with their dart gun, but the bird is way too quick. It easily dodges every shot and starts messing with them for fun. It flies around at incredible speed, then lands right between the two brothers. They both fire at the same time, but the woodpecker moves aside at the last second, causing the darts to hit both brothers instead. Within seconds, they collapse unconscious on the ground. Next, we meet Lance Walters, a successful real estate lawyer who has just helped his company win a huge case. He's celebrating the victory with his co-workers, enjoying the party, when suddenly his boss walks in and shuts everything down. She sends everyone else out, then shows Lance a video interview he recently gave to the news. In the interview, Lance arrogantly says that people care too much about animals. He claims animals don't pay taxes or help grow the country, while giant oil companies create jobs and deserve support instead. His boss tells him that while she appreciated him winning the case, those comments caused serious damage to the company's reputation. Everyone has turned against them, and because of that, she has no choice but to fire him immediately. Lance tries to explain himself, but she refuses to listen. With no job left, he later tells his girlfriend Vanessa what happened. Vanessa angrily suggests suing the company and humiliating them on social media. But Lance says they can't fight one of the biggest law firms in the country. Instead, he has another plan. His grandfather once bought him a property near the Canadian border, deep in the woods. Lance wants to build a luxury house there, sell it for a fortune, and use that money to start his own law firm. The two of them prepare to head to the forest, but before leaving, Lance's ex-wife Linda suddenly arrives with their son Tommy. Linda explains that her father is sick, and she has to leave town to take care of him. That means Lance will need to watch Tommy for a few days. Vanessa clearly doesn't like Tommy, and signals Lance not to agree, but Linda reminds Lance that he never makes time for his son, and this is the perfect chance to finally act like a father. After saying that, she leaves. Lance has no way out, so he takes Tommy along with them. The three of them travel in their bus and arrive at Pine Grove Forest. As soon as Lance sees the stunning location, he starts imagining the expensive house he plans to build there. Meanwhile, the woodpecker notices their arrival too. He assumes they're just campers, which makes him happy because campers usually bring lots of tasty food. Back at their hideout, Nate and Otis search online and discover that the red-crowned woodpecker is an extremely rare species believed to have gone extinct over 100 years ago. They also learn the last known bird of its kind was sold on the black market for $500,000. Excited by the news, the brothers become convinced that if they capture this rare bird and sell it, they'll become rich. Not far away, Pine Grove Forest Ranger Samantha replaces the damaged warning sign Nate had torn down. Nearby, she finds feathers, a dart, and a chocolate wrapper, the same chocolate Otis had been eating earlier. Realizing poachers are in the area, Samantha goes to speak with Lance. She tells him that his grandfather used to visit every summer and even taught her how to fish in the nearby river. Then she warns him that hunters may be roaming the woods and asks him to report anything suspicious. Lance proudly shows her the model for his new house. Samantha looks at the design and says it seems way too large for his family. She politely asks him to cut down as few trees as possible so the local animals won't be disturbed. Lance coldly replies that it's his land and he'll build whatever he wants. Still, he says he won't remove trees unless necessary. Samantha leaves, clearly unimpressed. Later, Tommy goes exploring in the forest by himself. He sits at a table and starts drumming with his hands. Suddenly, the woodpecker appears nearby and starts drumming on a trash can in rhythm with him. Tommy laughs and offers the bird some peanut butter cookies. The woodpecker loves them instantly, and the two quickly become friends. Tommy decides to give his new buddy a name, Woody. After the cookies were gone, Woody flew off for a while. Later, Tommy sat down for dinner with Lance and Vanessa, but Woody suddenly showed up again, ready for another free meal. Vanessa was terrified the moment she saw him. In the chaos, he accidentally knocked Vanessa over, making everything even worse. Woody quickly flew off, and Vanessa stormed away, furious with Lance. That night, Woody kept pecking loudly on the trees, making it impossible for Lance to sleep. Angry and exhausted, Lance went outside and tried to hit him with a shoe, but Woody caught the shoe mid-air and smacked Lance right in the face with it. Lance was furious, but there was nothing he could do. The next morning, Lance officially starts construction on his new house, but as soon as Woody realizes the workers are cutting down trees, he immediately launches an attack. He causes total chaos on the site and even poops on Vanessa's head, humiliating her in front of everyone. Meanwhile, Tommy wanders into a music shop and starts playing a guitar he instantly loves. A girl named Jill walks over and asks if he plans to buy it. Tommy admits he doesn't have any money. Jill then offers another option. She explains that she and her friend Lyle have a band and need a guitar player. If Tommy agrees to perform with them at the local festival, she'll let him borrow the guitar for a few days. Tommy happily accepts and leaves with the guitar. But outside, two boys stop him and start bullying him. They shove Tommy to the ground and laugh at him. Just then, Woody suddenly appears and tears their clothes apart. The boys panic and run away screaming. Tommy thanks Woody for saving him, then later tells Lance what happened. He explains that two kids were bothering him, but Woody stepped in and taught them a lesson. Back at the construction site, workers are pouring cement into the house foundation. Woody attacks again, forcing Lance and Vanessa to hide inside their car. But Woody places the cement hose through the sunroof, filling the entire car with wet cement. Lance is now completely fed up with him. Desperate for help, Lance goes to see Forest Ranger Samantha. She tells him the red-crowned woodpecker was believed extinct over 100 years ago. Local legends claimed it was the spirit of destruction, an avatar of Marconda, and no one who challenged it ever won. According to the stories, people eventually abandoned the forest because of it, but Lance refuses to back down. He says he'll just hunt the bird himself. Samantha quickly warns him that killing animals in the forest is illegal. If he breaks the law, he could face a $10,000 fine and up to 2 years in prison. Disappointed, Lance leaves with no plan. At the same time, Tommy practices music with Jill and Lyle. Woody joins them too, happily drumming along and becoming part of the band. The next day, construction starts again, but Woody keeps ruining everything. Sometimes he brings a beehive near the workers. Other times, he drills holes through wooden boards and destroys the materials. Vanessa finally has enough and leaves the forest to stay in a 5-star hotel. Lance feels miserable after she leaves. Tommy tries to comfort him, saying he knows Lance really cared about Vanessa and that it hurts to see her gone. Lance tells Tommy that life doesn't always go the way we want, and not every dream comes true, but he still hopes things will get better soon. The following day, Lance goes to Nate and Otis and asks them to catch Woody and take him far away. The brothers had wanted Woody from the beginning, and now Lance has unknowingly shown them exactly where to find him. They immediately agree. Later, Tommy heads out to go swimming with Jill and Lyle, but they accidentally end up near Nate and Otis's hideout. Inside, they find hunting gear everywhere, along with a trapped owl. They quickly realize this is the base of illegal poachers. Just then, Nate and Otis return. They threaten the kids and force them to leave. The next day, the brothers head to Lance's property, fully prepared to capture Woody. Nate explains the plan to Lance. First, they'll try trapping the bird in a cage. If that fails, they'll shoot him with tracking darts. And if Woody escapes that too, they'll use an electric net. They place a female woodpecker decoy and a box of peanut butter beneath the trap. Woody flies over and starts curiously talking to the fake bird. Nate tries to slam the cage shut, but Woody already knows something is wrong and escapes easily. Otis then fires tracking darts at him. Woody dodges them at incredible speed, flying all over the place before circling back to where they started. The darts end up hitting Nate and Otis instead, knocking both brothers unconscious once again. Woody then traps Lance in the electric net as well, leaving him in terrible shape. After that, Woody grabs the peanut butter and happily flies away. Sometime later, Lance heads into town to buy supplies, where he runs into Samantha. Frustrated, he tells her he never imagined a single woodpecker could ruin his relationship. Samantha suggests that instead of fighting Woody, he should try talking to him peacefully, and maybe even becoming friends. She says if Woody trusts him, he might finally stop causing trouble. Taking her advice, Lance approaches Woody with a box of cookies and offers a deal. He says if Woody lets him build his house in peace, he'll give him a fresh pack of cookies every day. Woody doesn't want to make peace with Lance at first, but he loves cookies far too much to resist. In the end, he agrees to the deal. The next day, all the workers are nervous when Woody suddenly shows up at the construction site, but Lance calms everyone down and hands Woody his promised cookies. Happy to collect his weekly reward, Woody even helps with the work a little before flying off. That night, Lance cooks dinner for Tommy. Tommy happily calls him Dad, and Lance is deeply moved because Tommy has never called him that before. Woody shows up too, so Lance gives him a cookie as well. Just then, Linda calls and says she spoke with her sister, who agreed to take care of Tommy for a while. She tells Lance he can drop Tommy off there if he wants, but Lance has grown close to Tommy. He tells Linda that the two of them are doing great together, and he doesn't want to send Tommy away. He says Tommy can stay with him until she returns. Linda is surprised to hear that, but she's also happy because Lance is finally starting to act like a responsible father. The following night, everyone heads into town for the local festival. Tommy and his friends are supposed to perform on stage, but their drummer Kyle enters a hot dog eating contest and overeats so badly that he can't perform. With no other choice, Tommy and Jill go on stage without a drummer. Woody is there in the crowd, and when he notices the problem, he quickly makes his own drum set using empty cans and pencils. He starts playing along, perfectly matching the music. Tommy and Jill's performance turns out amazing, and the crowd loves it. Lance proudly praises Tommy afterward, making Tommy feel great. Woody also joins them, and Samantha is shocked to finally see him up close. Tommy explains that Woody saved their performance by becoming the band's drummer. Lance happily praises Woody too. Woody had never really had a true friend before, so seeing Lance and Tommy so close to him fills him with joy. He wants them to stay with him forever. To celebrate, Woody goes into the unfinished house and carves a wooden picture of himself with Lance and Tommy on one of the boards. But while doing that, he accidentally cuts through an electrical wire. Since the house is made mostly of wood, a fire quickly starts spreading. Woody desperately tries to put it out, but the flames only grow bigger. Panicked and not knowing what to do, he quietly hides back in his nest. By morning, the entire house is burned to the ground. Lance is devastated and can't understand how it happened. A firefighter explains that a bird had pecked through the wall and accidentally damaged an electrical wire, which caused the fire. The moment Lance hears that, he immediately suspects Woody. He goes to Woody's nest and calls for him to come out so they can talk. But Woody sees Lance and hides in fear. Tommy tries to explain that Woody didn't do it on purpose, but humans can't understand animals. Instead of listening, Lance immediately calls Nate and Otis to come deal with Woody. Woody feels terrible and regrets everything. He says he loved being with Lance and Tommy, but made a huge mistake. Now he wants to help rebuild the house, even without getting cookies in return. But before he can do anything, Lance uses a bulldozer to destroy Woody's home as well. Woody is heartbroken. Nate takes advantage of the moment and shoots Woody with an electric stun gun, knocking him unconscious. Then they lock him in a cage and drive away with him. Tommy quickly tells Lance that he visited those two men's cabin earlier and saw bird traps and hunting gear everywhere. They aren't wildlife helpers, they're poachers, and they're going to kill Woody. Lance confronts Nate and asks if they plan to hurt Woody or release him. Nate lies and says harming animals goes against their principles. He claims they'll simply release Woody deep in the forest so he won't bother anyone again. Lance believes them, and the two brothers leave with Woody. Tommy becomes furious with Lance. He tells him that now he understands the truth. Whenever someone becomes inconvenient, Lance just throws them out of his life. He says that's exactly what Lance did to him and his mom too. Lance angrily tells Tommy he's talking nonsense and insists he never wanted to push him or Linda away. But Tommy refuses to listen and storms off. He runs to Jill and Kyle, tells them Woody is in danger, and the three kids head straight for Nate and Otis's hideout to rescue him. While searching through the burned remains of the house, Lance finds the wooden board Woody had carved. On it is a picture of Woody standing happily beside Lance and Tommy like a family. The moment Lance sees it, he realizes the truth. Woody never meant to burn the house down. It was all just a terrible accident. Filled with regret, Lance rushes to Samantha and tells her everything. He admits he thought Woody destroyed his home on purpose, so he asked Nate and Otis to capture him. He also explains that Tommy got angry and disappeared. Lance asks if she has seen him anywhere. Samantha quickly figures out that Tommy probably went to rescue Woody. She tells Lance she knows where Nate and Otis live, and the two of them head there immediately. Meanwhile, Kyle tells Tommy that the three of them can't take on dangerous poachers alone and should call the police. But Tommy says the police may not believe them, and if they waste time looking for help, Woody could be dead before anyone arrives. He insists they have to save Woody themselves. But before they can act, Nate and Otis suddenly catch them and lock all three kids inside a cage. Nate then begins auctioning Woody online through the black market. A wealthy sheik places the winning bid of $900,000, making Nate and Otis wildly excited. Otis starts loading supplies into the vehicle so they can leave with Woody right away. Tommy desperately tries to reason with Nate. He says he knows Woody has been sold, but claims his dad will pay even more money if they let Woody go, and they won't report them to the police either. Kyle quickly whispers that Tommy himself said Lance is broke after losing the house, so how could he possibly pay them? Nate instantly realizes Tommy is bluffing. Furious, he loads poison into a dart and prepares to shoot Woody. At that exact moment, Lance and Samantha arrive outside the cabin. Otis imitates a car horn to lure Nate outside, before Samantha notices anything suspicious. Lance tells Nate he wants Woody back because his son is upset about losing him. Nate coldly replies that kids get attached to animals all the time, but Tommy will get over it soon enough. He then lies and says they already released Woody near the Canadian border, far beyond anyone's reach. Delightful. As they leave, Samantha spots a chocolate wrapper on the ground. She pulls Lance aside and explains that she has found the same wrapper at multiple poaching sites over the past year. She's certain Woody is still inside. Lance and Samantha rush back in and discover Tommy and the others trapped in cages. Furious, Lance charges at Nate, but Nate punches him hard and knocks him to the ground. Otis points a gun at Samantha, leaving her unable to move. Then they lock both Lance and Samantha in cages as well. Nate once again raises his dart gun at Woody, but Lance manages to slam his cage into Woody's cage, knocking it over and setting Woody free. Woody immediately attacks Nate and Otis, knocking both brothers to the floor. Then he grabs the cage key and tosses it to Tommy. At the same time, police sirens can be heard getting closer. Nate and Otis panic and run for the door. Woody tries chasing them, but they slam the door shut, trapping Woody's beak in it for a moment. Otis realizes he forgot the car keys inside, and with the police nearly there, the brothers jump onto an ATV and race into the forest. Woody yanks his beak free and takes off after them at full speed. Soon they reach a dead end, so Nate and Otis abandon the ATV and continue running on foot. They break through a gate and reach the Canadian border. All they need to do now is cross a bridge to escape, but Woody suddenly appears in front of them. Otis is terrified, while Nate pulls out a knife. Seeing the blade, Woody quickly flies away. Nate smirks, thinking they're safe now. But seconds later, Woody pecks through the bridge supports. The bridge collapses, sending both brothers crashing into the river below. After floating far downstream, they finally crawl back onto land. But Samantha is already waiting there with the police. Nate and Otis are so terrified of Woody that they beg the officers to arrest them quickly and take them away before the crazy woodpecker comes back. The police happily oblige and haul them off. Later, Lance shows Tommy and Samantha the model for his new house. This time it's much smaller, so fewer trees will need to be cut down. Since he destroyed Woody's home, Lance also builds him a brand new birdhouse. Woody is thrilled with the gift. That night, Lance and Tommy finally sleep peacefully. Meanwhile, Woody pecks the words "home sweet home" into his new birdhouse. But in doing so, he weakens the wood, causing the whole thing to fall right onto Lance's tent. Woody quickly apologizes and flies off. If you enjoyed this video, you should definitely check out this next one, where dangerous animals prove they can be loyal friends and even save a young boy's life.